guys, well, my name is Becca. Welcome back to another video. Today I am here with all the books that I read in July. There are a lot. I read 21 books in July. So we really have to get into the books. Before we do that though, let's just talk about the movies I watched just really quick, because I do this for every wrap up and, well, I'm not going to stop now. So I watched, at the very beginning of the month, I went and saw Far From Home, Spider-Man 2 Far From Home, and I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. I really love what they did with it. It was just so good. It was so good. Oh my god, I had a great time. And then we went and saw Aladdin for a second time, and it's my second time watching it. Obviously it was amazing. I love Aladdin. It's my favorite Disney movie. I love this live action. It's just fantastic. Speechless is an amazing song. I listen to it all the time. I love that movie. And then I think the last movie I went and saw for July was Lion King, which is another Disney live action. And for me, personally, Lion King was the very first movie I ever saw in theaters. Right when it came out, my parents took me, and it was the very first movie I ever saw in theaters. And this live action was good. It was really good. I loved it. But it was the most unnecessary one you could have come out with, in my opinion. It was pretty much a basic carbon copy of the original. There was very minor changes, but there's really nothing to change from the original, so bringing this out live action was just, it was very unnecessary. I love it. I'm gonna own it, obviously. It was great. It was the original, like, it was pretty much the original movie. But if I had to choose between watching the animated or the live action, I would always go with the animated, because I just feel like the animated does it better. And at least with the other live action movies, like Aladdin, Jungle Book, and Cinderella, I feel like there's so much of a difference that I would just watch both. Like, I'm not watching the exact same movie over again, if that makes sense. Like, for Lion King, it'd be the exact same movie over again. But with the other ones, it's so much of a difference that it's two separate movies. It's two very different movies. And I love Lion King, okay? But, again, it was pretty much the same thing. Okay, that's it for the movies I watched. I did binge watch Young Justice, which is a DC animated show all about, like, the young superheroes. Like, you get some from Teen Titans. Like, you get Robin, you get Beast Boy, there's Superboy, and Aqualad, and Kid Flash, Miss Martian. I mean, they're all in there. It's great. I love that show. The third season had finally come out, and so I had to go back and binge watch the first two seasons. So I did, and I much prefer the first season. I am watching the third season right now, and I much prefer the first season, but it's still really good, and I still really like it. So there's that. Okay, now we can finally get onto the books. So yeah, I'm going to do it with my same format. I did read 8 books for the reading rush, and I do have a separate wrap-up for that. I'm going to still include the books here and just, you know, tell you if I liked it and give you a star rating, but, yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I read 8 books for reading rush, and all the rest were just in those, first 3 weeks and that last 3 days. I did a lot of reading, and I'm doing a lot of reading in August, and I'm kind of tired. But it's great, and I'm having a good time. But I'm kind of tired. Alright, so for the, there were no DNFs this month, which was really good. For the 2019 releases, I have 3. Which was really sad, because normally I have, like, a whole bunch of 2019 releases and then some backlists. But this is good, because I'm getting some books off my shelves as well. But to be honest, there's a lot of rereads, and you'll see that. Okay, so first we'll talk about Ghost of the Shadow Market. by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, Kelly Link, Maureen Johnson, and Robin Wasserman. Okay, also, other than the Reading Rush wrap-up that I will link down below, I will link down the recently read and currently reading videos that I made for the entire month, because I wasn't going to do like I did in June and not make any of those and have to sit here and do all these reviews when I don't have the greatest memory when it comes to like names and plots and stuff. So I will link all those down below. There are some books that I totally forgot to talk about, so I'll talk more in depth on those, but or at least as much as I can. But yeah, so like this book is in the first recently read and currently reading video. I reread The Land I Lost, which is the Alec and Magnus novella. Well, mostly Alec, but we're calling it the Alec and Magnus novella. And then I read for the first time The Lost World and Forever Fallen. So this is The Lost World, art, and this is Forever Fallen. For The Lost World, I can't talk about what they're about because that would spoil Queen of Air and Darkness and all that. But for The Lost World, I thought it was okay. I think I gave that like 3.5 stars. Of course, I didn't write this down. I totally forgot that I read this. I want to say I think that I gave that like a 3.5 stars, and then Forever Fallen I gave a 4 star. Yeah, I think it was like that. They were good. It was alright. My favorite will always be The Land I Lost, which of course I gave a 5 star to. But this, in general, like this whole bind-up overall, I would give maybe a 3.5 star to. It's not my favorite bind-up. My favorite bind-up will be the Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy, because I really, really love that bind-up, and I think it does a really good job of having like the most consistency, but having like the best novellas in there. Like there's a lot that I really love in those, and for this I was just like, it was okay, but you follow Brother Zachariah and he goes through like the shadow markets, and yeah, it was okay. 3.5 stars. But overall, that has my favorite novella of all time in that. So, yeah. And then we have the Buffy the Vampire Slayer reimagining comic. This is Volume 1, High School is Hell. This is by Jodi Belair, Dan Mora, and Raul Angulo, and it's, of course, created by Joss Whedon. Apparently, this is canon. Okay. This is canon? Alright. But it's reimagined to be set in, like, 2019, so we have Buffy with a cell phone and a stake, because she's still the Vampire Slayer. And, yeah, it's supposed to be a little bit more modernized. This is okay. I gave it 3 stars. It was alright. I read this for the Reading Rush, so, yeah, you'll see more of my thoughts, but this is okay. 3 stars. And then also for the Reading Rush, I read Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I listened to the audiobook. I want to reread this physically. I love this book so much. I gave this 5 stars. This is fantastic. I have heard that people say that the sorcerer Nathaniel reminds them, like, it's supposed to be inspired by Howl. I can totally see that. And Silas, I don't know if this is supposed to be like that, but Silas the Demon is very much reminiscent of Sebastian from Black Butler. So I really want to know if Margaret Rogerson watched Black Butler and made Silas, which is an anime, but and then turned, you know, just had Silas be inspired by Sebastian, because that was just total Black Butler feels and Sebastian feels, and I was just like, yes. I love Black Butler. I love Howl's Moving Castle. I love this book. Which is very funny, because I kept saying how I didn't know if I would love this book because I hated An Enchantment of Ravens. But I love this book. Is next up library books, or is next up rereads? We're going to go with library books first, because I only have one. That would be The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wang. This is... I do only have one, right? Yeah. making sure I only have one of these. Princess Dressmaker by Jenna Wang. I read this for the Reading Rush as well. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. This was really cute, really wholesome, and it was just so cute. 4 stars. Okay, let's talk about the rereads, guys, because holy crap. I read a lot. I did a lot of rereads. Again, I've said this in my TBR, and this is my birthday month. And my birthday month meant that I read what I wanted to read, and I read, like, pretty much all the books that were, like, favorites of mine at one time or another, so that's pretty much what I did. I didn't read everything I wanted to. Like Sky in the Deep, I moved to August because Sky in the Deep fit a really good prompt, and I have The Girl the Sea gave back, which is the companion to that, and I'll also be reading that in August. Hopefully. I still have yet to get to them. But yeah, for rereads, I have Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. Again, like, I talk about all of these except one in my recently read and currently reading videos, but this one follows Tate. She is moving in with her brother, who is a pilot, and his next door neighbor is a pilot, and it's her, like, romance with the next door neighbor, and it's also, like, sneaking around with the brother. This is really cute. I really love this. Yeah, I gave this 5 stars. I really love this book. Then we have Dating You, Hating You by Christina Lauren. This one is about 2 Hollywood agents that meet at a party, Carter and Evie. They meet at a party, and they end up, you know, like, having a spark, and they both realize that they work for rival companies. Yeah, they're both Hollywood agents, and they both work for rival companies. But they have this spark, and they decide, you know, like, who cares, let's just hook up. And then their companies end up merging. And now they're vying for the same position. And hilarity ensues, drama ensues. There's this whole prank war that I freaking love. It's just hilarious, and yeah, I gave this 5 stars. Who's surprised? So then we have A Spy in the House by Y.S. Lee. This is the first book in the Agency series. I haven't read this since it came out in 2012. Or no, I read this in 2012. I don't know when it first came out. Oh, it first came out in 2009, but I read this in 2012. So I thought I read this in high school, but I guess I didn't. Okay. This is about Mary. This is set, I think, in, like, Victorian London or around that. I could have the wrong era, but it's in London. It's way back in the past. Mary is about to be killed. She is sentenced to the gallows, and she ends up getting saved by this woman who works for this academy for girls. And this woman takes her to this academy and pretty much educates her and, what's it called, like, just teaches her everything and gives her a position, stuff like that. And then, Mary just finds herself kind of bored, and she wants, something better, something more. So, they end up introducing her to the other aspect of the academy, which is the agency, and Mary becomes a spy. Her first mission is to infiltrate this family. There's this whole thing with, like, I think they're Chinese ships, or it's Chinese workers, something like that. They're on the ship and they're sinking, and there's cargo and stuff on the ship, and they believe it's fraud. They don't know what exactly is happening, but she must infiltrate them to figure out exactly what's going on and who's doing what and stuff like that, to, like, get proof on what's happening and if they're actually doing it. And then there's James, who's also investigating his family for personal reasons, but still. And him and Mary cross paths, and at first it's like an enemies to lovers, but really it's like, it's gonna be a great freaking romance. Well, at least it was It's a very slow burn, though. Like, I can tell, like, it's gonna be very slow burn. I've never actually read the fourth book, which is Rivals in the City. I only read up to book 3, and I believe they're together in book 3, but I could be totally wrong, and they don't get together until book 4, and that's gonna hurt. But still, it's a very quick read. I don't know if this is exactly middle grade or if this is young adult or if it's like right in the middle, because it's been a while since I've actually read it. Or like I read it when I was pretty young, but still, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I used to give this 5 stars, but I gave 4 stars this time. One that I didn't plan on rereading and I just decided to reread in the last like couple of days, and that is Ice Planet Barbarians. We need to talk right after this. Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. This is alien smut. I've talked about this a little bit. This is the first book. I decided to pick up the actual physical copy of the first book. I'm going to continue getting them. It's a long series, but it's so good. It's about these women. Well, it's not so good. It's actually like it's a really binge, like a trashy but good binge series, and I really like it. But it's about these group of girls that are abducted by aliens, and they are being taken to whatever planet they're being taken to. But then the ship crashes onto this ice planet, and the girls have to find some way to survive, and they end up coming across the locals of this ice planet. And there's this whole like mating thing, and it's just so good. Like, it's so bad, but it's so good. And yeah, I don't know. 4 stars. I'm gonna give this 4 stars. Because it's so bad, but it's so good. Okay, I realized while I was talking about that one, because the last 3 days of the month, I also... Oh man, what is wrong with me? How come I forget? I also actually read Discretion by Karina Hale. Here, let me turn down the brightness just a little bit. But yeah, there's Discretion. This is a 2019 release because it just came out this month. And I got an e-arc of this on NetGalley for review. And yeah, I totally forgot that. I didn't forget that I read this, but I forgot that this is a 2019 release for some stupid reason. But I enjoyed this. This is about... Here, I wrote down like some really good thoughts on this. Okay, so we follow Oliver and Sadie. Oliver, you find out in the very beginning, is being blackmailed for something. He's being blackmailed by his family, well, his uncle and his cousins. It's been going on for 10 years. Because the very beginning is like a 10 years later, and then the very beginning is 10 years prior to the beginning. It's the actual beginning, which is 10 years later. So we follow Sadie, and her and her boyfriend went on this whole trip to Europe. They're backpacking through Europe. And whilst in the middle of this vacation or trip, she finds out her boyfriend's been cheating on her. And so her boyfriend ends up leaving, and she's all alone for this trip. And on her way to get to her next destination, she is attacked, and yeah, she's attacked. She's rescued by Oliver, and Sadie ends up really hurting her ankle. But she's rescued by Oliver, and Oliver takes care of her. He takes her to the hospital, takes her back to his hotel, stuff like that. He really takes care of her, and just like romance ensues from there. You actually like find out why Oliver's been being blackmailed, like what's going on. There's a lot of smutty scenes, and drama and stuff like that. For the sexy times alone, I would give this 10 out of 10. It was fantastic. But for everything else, I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. This was good. I did feel like the revelation of like what he did and why he's being blackmailed was a little underwhelming, but then you find out more of what's going on, and then it's like, okay, alright, I get it. This is really good. So, yeah, I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. And I will definitely be picking up the second book when that comes out. Because this is the first book in the Dumont series. So, yeah, when the second book comes out, I for sure want to be picking that up. Okay. Now, that's done. We can get back to... yeah. Now that that's done, we can get back to the rereads. Because I wasn't finished with those. So I have books 1 and 2 from the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. I reread these because I need to catch up with these. Yes. But Dark Lover focuses on Wrath and Beth, and Lover Eternal, which I read for the Reading Rush, by the way, focuses on Rage and Mary. These are really, really good. I absolutely love them. I talk more about them in prior videos, so... yeah, you should look at those. But, yeah, I gave both of these 5 out of 5 stars. And then we have Dream Chaser and Acheron, which, again, I talk about in prior videos. This one's from the Reading Rush. Oh my god. Both of these got 5 out of 5 stars. This is Zypher and Simone's story, which I really, really enjoyed. And this is Acheron and Tori's story, and this one always breaks me. But it's a brick. But it is so fucking good. Both of these, of course, got 5 out of 5 stars. This is my favorite. I say this about, like, a lot of these books. But this is in one of my, this is in the list of my favorites of the entire series so far. Because I haven't actually caught up. I am reading these in order to catch up to where I was. I have yet to get there. This is number 13 in the Dark Hunter series and number 3 in the Dream Hunter series. I looked this up before actually talking about this because I haven't been able to tell you like correct numbers. This is number 14. I was totally off. Did I think this is 17? What is wrong with me? But yeah, this is number 13 in the Dark Hunter. This is number 14 in Dark Hunter. But this one actually follows a Dream Hunter. So that's why it's number 3 in the Dream Hunter series. But this is just all Dark Hunter. And this one follows the leader of the Dark Hunters, who is my favorite. Yes, he is my baby, and I love him. 5 out of 5 stars for both of these. Okay. Alright, now we can finally get to the backlist titles, which there are quite a few. And then I have some that we need to talk about on my iPad, so we're going to do that first. Okay, so we have 4-Letter Word by J. Daniels. I read that, and, here, where's the second one? Hit the Spot by J. Daniels. These are books 1 and 2 in the Dirty Deeds series. I have yet to read book 3, and book 4 comes out later this year. I really love J. Daniels. I read Sweet Addiction, and I think Sweet Obsession, is that the second book, or is that the third book? Something like that. But I read, I read Sweet Addiction and Sweet Possession. Yeah, Sweet Obsession is the third book, but I read Possession. I really, really love those books, and so when I found out J. Daniels has other series that I've never even heard of, I was for sure going to pick those up. But 4-Letter Word follows Sydney and Brian. Sydney has just, her husband ends up coming to her and telling her that he wants a divorce, so she ends up leaving her husband and going to move in with her best friend. She also finds out her best friend is going through relationship troubles as well. Tori, the best friend, finds out that her boyfriend of a little while is married. And Tori ends up confronting the ex now and the wife, and yeah, it's insane. But Sydney is like, no, that's not all we're doing. So she's like, I want the number. Give me his freaking phone number, and I'm gonna call him. I want to give him a piece of my mind. So that's exactly what she does. And the guy on the other line is just laughing so hard, and you're just like, what's going on? You find out that was the wrong number. There was like one number missed, and yeah, it was like one number off or whatever, and she's just been berating this other guy that she doesn't know and who has no idea who she is, and it's hilarious. But Brian, the guy on the other line, can't seem to get Sydney out of his head. You know, after this, this is a lot. He's had a lot of dark times over the years. It's been a really tough couple of years. And Sydney brought in a little light into his darkness, and so he decides to text her. And this just spawns this whole like text and phone relationship pretty much. And it's so good. I really enjoyed this. There is some drama, obviously, but it's really good. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved Four Letter Word. I love the relationship between Sydney and Brian. I totally understood a lot of the drama that was going on. And I really loved the characters. I even really loved the side characters, which most of the time I'm just like, it's okay. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. I did give it a 5 stars, right? Yeah. Okay. So then, yeah, after that, I read, obviously, Hit the Spot, which is the companion to Four Letter Word. This one follows Tori, the best friend, and Jamie, Brian's best friend. Tori and Jamie have known each other for a while. Tori works at this diner. Technically, Sydney does too. But she's been working at this diner for a long time, and Jamie has been a frequent customer of this diner. And he always flirts with her. He's always trying to get her to go out with him, and she continues to shoot him down. At first, it's because she had a boyfriend. Oh, man. But then it was just because, well, she had a boyfriend, and he wouldn't stop. Like, this guy would not stop flirting with her. And trying to ask her out. He just didn't care she had a boyfriend. So she's like, you're not someone I really want to be with. I don't want that kind of guy in my life, so bye. And then something, like, they end up sort of getting into this fight. She ends up hitting him with a car on accident. It's really quite funny. And then he wants nothing to do with her. And then there's this whole bet that, it's pretty much a bet where all bets are off. It's like, alright, one of us is gonna crack. One of us is gonna want to be with the other, and it's pretty much a bet on who will crack first. And it's all bets are off because they could do whatever the frick they want to the other person. They can seduce them, they can touch them, they can wear absolutely nothing. It's really good. I give this 5 out of 5 stars. I love these books, and I cannot wait for the third book, which is Bad for You, which follows 2 side characters that you meet as well. But the one I'm really looking forward to is Down Too Deep, and this one, again, doesn't come out until later this year. But that's the one I'm really looking forward to, so I cannot wait for that. Alright, so... Alright. Okay. I can't remember if, exactly... what I read for the Reading Rush. Because quite a few of these backlist titles are ones I read for the Reading Rush. But give me a second. Oh, okay. Alright. Okay. Alright, so let's talk about the Reading Rush runs first, because I'm not really going to talk much about them. So, I finished Angel's Blood by Nalini Singh. This is the first book in the Guild Hunter series, and I was reading this for the read-along with Bay Crate that they were doing. I really, really love this. I give this 5 stars. Pretty much vampires create, or not vampires, angels have created vampires, and Elena is a vampire hunter, and she's hired by an archangel to hunt down another archangel. It's really good. The romance between the Archangel Raphael and Elena is really good, and I really love it. So yeah, that got 5 out of 5 stars. Then I have Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. Talk more about this in a Reading Rush, but I felt like the movie did it so much better. And if you go from watching the movie first to reading this book, it doesn't do it justice. Like, it's just doesn't hold up. And I didn't care for Howl, which is my favorite character, and I did not care for him in this. And I didn't care for, the plot, because I just felt like the movie did it much better. There's this whole war thing that should be going on, and I guess it is going on in the background, but in the movie it's the forefront. And, like I said, the movie did it better. But yeah, this, I gave a 3 out of 5 stars, but to be honest, it's more like a 2.5 out of 5. And then First and Then by Emma Mills. Oh my god, I love this book. At first, I thought this was going to be just another generic YA contemporary novel, but it became so much more as you go on. Like I said in my Reading Rush wrap up, Foster and Devon are the heart of this book, and I will love them forever. And they're not the main romance. Foster and Devon are cousins, but they have this sibling bond that just makes them the heart of this book. So, 5 out of 5 stars for that. Alright, and these last 3 I've talked about in the currently reading and recently read updates video. So, like I said, I'm going to link them all down below. But we have The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale. This is the first book in the Books of Bairn series. This one follows a princess, the crown princess of Kildenry. And she, all her life, has been told that she is going to rule this kingdom. And then one day, her mother really pushes her back and has her brother be the crown prince and her brother rule the kingdom. And she's pushed aside for her brother. And she ends up being betrothed to the Prince of Bairn, and she has to travel to Bairn to marry him. But on the way to Bairn, she is betrayed. Her and her envoy are betrayed and attacked, and our princess Annie ends up getting away. But as she gets to Bairn, she realizes no one's gonna believe her that she is the princess. So she ends up finding a position in the palace as the Goose Girl, because she can, she has the gift of animal speak. She can speak sort of to animals. So that's what she does, and she finds out that the people who have betrayed her have found an imposter for her, found someone to become her, and that person is going to marry the prince, and also there's going to be a war between the two countries, because that's what they want. So I really enjoyed this. I give this 4 stars. It is middle grade, but I feel like it's in the middle of middle grade and young adult maybe, but it's still really, really good. I gave this 4 stars. I can't wait to continue on. So then we have The Bone Witch by Rin Chupeco. This is about Taya, this is a whole world filled with Asha, who are witches. They have magic. And Taya doesn't really have any magic that she knows of until the day her brother is sent home from the army in a casket. Well, pretty much. He's dead. He died in the army, and he's brought back home to be buried. And Taya ends up rising back from the dead. And you find out she is a Dark Asha. She is a Bone Witch. And she is sent away with another more experienced Bone Witch to train to be to use and control her powers. This is okay. I give this 3 stars. I will definitely want to be continuing on because the end of this book was really good. But in this book, you have obviously the story, but then you have the future moments where Taya is in the future and she's telling the story, so that's what you're getting. But she's in the future and she's a villain. So reading this book, Taya's going to become a villain, but you don't know why and you don't know how. But I really do love those moments, and I really enjoyed the ending. So, I am going to continue on. I'm going to read Heartforger. But yeah, that book didn't wow me or anything. I just thought it was meh. But I am excited to read, to continue on. Okay, last up. Finally, we have Red Rising. I am really ending on a sour note. Okay, so Red Rising. We have this world that is based on a color caste system. We have the Golds, which are the elites, pretty much like gods, pretty much. And then we have the Reds, which are the bottom of the barrel. They are the slaves. we follow Darrow, who is a red. He witnesses his wife die by the hands of the Golds, and he realizes, like, his whole, not his whole, but his people are being enslaved by the Golds, and he is sick of it. He is tired of it, and he decides to become a Gold. Yeah, he has to go through this weird-ass surgery to become a Gold. And, just in order to infiltrate them and to take them out from the inside, pretty much. I did not care for this book. I gave this 2 stars. I read this for the read-along that Fae Crate was doing. So Bay Crate was doing the read-along for the Angel's Blood, and Fae Crate was doing the read-along for Red Rising, because they both had hangover kits for, like, this is for the new, what is it, Dark Age that's coming out, so they have a box for that, and then Bay Crate had a box for the new Guild Hunter novel. But yeah, this one got 2 stars. I just did not care for Darrow. I did not care for any of the characters. I didn't care for the plot. It had a really good premise, and I thought I was really going to like it, but I really didn't. So that is it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I read a lot, and I know this is going to be long, but I tried to make it as short as possible. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again with another. Bye. Happy reading.